Imagine sneaking into the home of one of the world's biggest celebrities, your heart pounding, knowing you're breaking the law. That's exactly where Rose found herself one sunny afternoon in the early 2000s, standing outside a massive mansion in the Hollywood Hills. She was a young musician, desperate to make it big, clutching a demo CD she believed could change her life. Her plan? Slip into the home of a music legend, hand over her CD, and hope they'd be so blown away they'd launch her career. Crazy? Absolutely. Worth the risk? She thought so. Rose parked her car and stared at the towering gate halfway up the mansion's driveway. Her palms were sweaty, her mind racing with what-ifs. She knew this was illegal. She could end up in handcuffs. But the dream of stardom pushed her forward. She stepped out, clutching her CD, and started up the driveway. The place was eerily quiet. No security, no barking dogs, just a lone gardener trimming bushes near the gate. Rose's heart sank. Would he stop her? Call the cops? She took a deep breath, plastered on a smile, and decided to take a chance. Approaching the gardener, she pulled out her last $5 bill. "This is all I've got," she said, her voice shaky but earnest. "Please, I just need to drop something off." The gardener looked her up and down, a young, nervous kid who seemed harmless. He grinned, pocketed the bill, and waved her through. "Go on," he said. Rose couldn't believe it. She slipped past the gate, her heart hammering as she climbed the hill toward the mansion. The property was a dream. Lush gardens, sparkling fountains, and cameras everywhere. She braced herself for alarms or guards, but nothing came. She reached the massive front door, her hands trembling. She knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Silence. Then, in a moment of reckless courage, she tried the doorknob. To her shock, it turned. The door swung open, revealing the jaw-dropping interior of a superstar's home. Artwork worth millions, gleaming furniture, a billiard room, a wine cellar. It was unreal. Rose stepped inside, her sneakers squeaking on the polished floor. She called out softly, hoping to find the owner, but the house felt empty. Her eyes landed on an elevator in the corner. Why not? She stepped in, hit the button for the next floor, and the doors closed. As the elevator hummed, panic set in. What if someone heard? What if she was caught? She fumbled for her Nokia phone and dialed her mom. "Mom," she whispered, "I'm in deep trouble. I might get arrested." Her mom's voice crackled with worry, but before she could respond, the elevator stopped. The doors slid open, and Rose froze. There, sitting casually with a guitar, was the legend himself. Prince, the Prince. One of the most famous musicians on the planet, strumming away like it was just another day. Their eyes locked. Time seemed to stop. Rose's mind screamed, "This is it! Do something!" Without a word, she stepped forward, tossed her demo CD onto a table between them, and bolted back to the elevator. Her heart raced as she hit the button, praying to escape before anyone realized what she'd done. She made it to the front door, but just as she reached for the knob, security guards appeared. They grabbed her, their faces stern. Rose braced. For the worst. Handcuffs, jail, her dreams crushed. But then, a miracle. They didn't call the police. Instead, they escorted her out with a warning. She'd dodged disaster. As she drove away, her hands still shaking, she knew Prince wouldn't care about her CD. He didn't call industry bigwigs or launch her career. But Rose didn't need him to. Years later, under her real name, Kesha, she sold over 100 million records, her music topping charts worldwide. She'd broken into the industry on her own terms, proving that sometimes the wildest risks lead to the greatest rewards. Now, picture a different kind of desperation. It's 2008, and Carlo, a 50-year-old actor in Connecticut, is drowning in debt. He's staring at a pile of bankruptcy papers, each one a reminder of his failure. Carlo wasn't just any actor. He'd performed on Broadway, starred in films, earned respect in the industry. But respect didn't pay the bills. With a wife and 4 kids to support, he felt trapped. Worse, he felt like a fraud. To his peers, he was a success, but behind closed doors, he was barely keeping it together. As he sifted through the paperwork, a dark thought took hold. One he'd pushed away before but now couldn't ignore. What if he died? His family could claim a life insurance payout, enough to erase their debts and secure their future. It wasn't about giving up, it was about sacrifice. He cautiously asked his wife about their insurance policies, learning they had a generous one. That sealed it. He started researching, but his heart sank when he learned most policies wouldn't pay out for suicide. The rules were strict, designed to prevent exactly what he was planning. Carlo didn't give up. He considered dangerous hobbies, hang gliding, base jumping, hoping an accident might trigger the payout. But he knew it would look suspicious. A hitman? Too risky. Months passed and he was still alive, still buried in debt, still auditioning, for roles that barely paid. Then, one day, his agent called with an offer. It was a small part in a big show, not much money, but a chance to be seen. Carlo read the script and felt a spark. The character was someone who hid in plain sight, public persona masking a secret life. It was Carlo's life in a nutshell. He poured his heart into the role, drawing on his own pain and duality. The producers were stunned. Carlo wasn't just good, he was magnetic. They expanded his part, writing new scenes to showcase his talent. The audience loved him, and the show soared. That role became his lifeline, pulling him out of financial ruin and into the spotlight. Carlo, better known as Giancarlo Esposito, became Gus Fring, the iconic kingpin from Breaking Bad. He earned millions, Emmy nominations, and a legacy that transformed his life. Sometimes, the darkest moments lead to the brightest breakthroughs. Now, let's step onto a bustling Toronto street on June 6, 2013. Marilyn and Jim Walpole, a retired couple from Ohio, are strolling back to their hotel after a cozy dinner at an Irish pub. Their cross-Canada vacation has been a dream, filled with laughter and memories. As they walk, they approach a stretch of sidewalk covered by scaffolding. Common. In cities, just a temporary tunnel for pedestrians. They don't think twice and step under it, chatting about their trip. Then, in an instant, everything changes. Jim trips, his body lurching forward. He lands hard, his neck striking a metal tube protruding from the ground. Blood gushes from the wound, pooling on the sidewalk. Marilyn screams, her mind reeling. She kneels beside him, helpless as Jim clutches his neck, his face pale. "Help!" she cries, her voice echoing in the tunnel. 2 strangers hear her and rush over. One pulls out his phone, dialing 911. The other, calm and commanding, kneels beside Jim, wrapping his scarf around Jim's neck to slow the bleeding. "It's okay," he tells Jim. "We've got you." To Marilyn, he says, "Stay calm. Help's coming." Marilyn watches, stunned by the man's confidence. He must be a doctor, she thinks. His presence is steady, reassuring. Paramedics arrive minutes later, rushing Jim into an ambulance. As Marilyn climbs in, she turns to the man who saved her husband. "What's your name?" she asks. "John," he replies. "Your husband's going to be okay. Go." The ambulance. Doors close and they speed off. At the hospital, Marilyn learns Jim will survive, but it was close. The cut was deep, another 1/8 of an inch and he'd have bled out. The doctors credit the quick actions of John and the other man for saving his life. Marilyn is overwhelmed with gratitude but realizes she has no way to find them. She only knows John's first name. The next day, back at their hotel, the front desk calls. A visitor's waiting, the man who called 911. He's the owner of the pub they dined at, checking on them out of concern. Marilyn thanks him, then asks about John. The pub owner smiles. I don't know him personally, but I know of him. Everyone does. John wasn't a doctor. He was John Malkovich, the legendary actor whose commanding presence on screen translated to real life. His calm, decisive actions saved Jim's life, turning a stranger's kindness into a miracle. These stories of Kesha's daring break-in, Giancarlo's rise from despair, and John's heroic act remind us that life's most unexpected moments can redefine us. They show us that courage, resilience, and compassion can spark change, not just for ourselves, but for others. So, when life throws you a curveball, embrace it. You never know how it might rewrite your story or someone else's.